I refuse to be taken out of context with that audio clip.
No, I would not do that. That is bad. I wouldn't do
Piece
that.
of advice, never tell Maddie, don't clip this because she inevitably will fucking clip it
I
and make it the
I would
intro.
never I would never clip anything that would make you sound like a bad person to somebody out of context. I'm Maddie,
And I'm Abigail, and this is
two writers.
Many Wrongs.
We are back with two writers, many queries, and we are so excited to have Jakey back with us to follow up on his querying journey and my querying journey. And now Maddie is on her own querying journey, which is very, very exciting because the last time we talked, I feel like we were all in kind of different places, and I have a feeling that maybe we're all kind of in the same place for once. I don't know about you guys, but I took several months off and am just now getting back into it. So I feel like I'm back in the beginning all over again.
Yeah, I'm just starting to like dip my toes in, so I'm going very slowly, very
Mhm.
cautiously.
I'm probably several months away from where you are, Maddie. So I feel like we're all like 6 to 7 months apart, which I would say is about on the same
Yeah,
wavelength.
Yeah,
yeah, no,
just different
absolutely.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've
But I
all
mean,
shifted around.
right, I know. I was gonna say, but you've been working on your audiobook still, right, Jake?
I'm so close to being done with that. There are literally like 3 chapters left. I realize I've
Oh.
been editing it as much as I initially wrote it back in high school. Granted,
Hmm.
much lower lift, of course, but still, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited to only focus on one project.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, that's
that
it's
is
hard
really
balancing
nice.
multiple projects, yeah.
Yes, yes.
Well, it's hard balancing multiple projects when I'm in the editing phases of my second novel and in the querying phases of my first novel, and I'm so much more invested in my second novel because I'm still in like the fun, creative writing, editing phase. And so, like, I have found as I'm querying people, not that I'm being like less excited about this novel, but your query letter is supposed to be like, this is amazing and you should read it and love me. And I'm like, it's here. If you want to read it, that's cool. Whatever. Like I'm really struggling to get excited about it again.
I don't think you have to get excited about it. Just make it sound like you're excited about it.
Right, yeah. No. So since I took so many months off, I stopped querying in like November of last year because the holidays were coming up and all the rest of it. And then just sent out new queries, I want to say like 2 months ago. So you know, we're working on it slowly but surely. But I like retweaked my query letter, and literally called my mom to be like, "Oh, this feels so stale, and I don't know
Yeah.
how to make it sound better because I'm so far removed from it at this point."
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember last time we talked about querying, we talked about rewriting the beginning of the query letter almost every time
Mhm.
for like a different agent.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
I feel like once you're a bit more disconnected because you've taken a
Hmm.
break or haven't been thinking about it as much, that part is harder because I feel like that instinct to want to personalize it every time doesn't go away. But maybe the
Yeah.
passion to does.
Can we talk about personalizing query letters?
Yeah.
Talk about like you guys' process for that because I feel like I'm
Mm.
terrible at that.
So since I'm just now redoing it, the way that I set up my query letter, hold on, let me just pull it up really quickly. So I have my beginning part is just like the I am seeking representation, like upmarket contemporary fiction, multiple viewpoints, like all of those like hotspot words. And then I have my paragraph that is like my synopsis.
Hmm.
And then my last paragraph, I always try to say, like, I know that you are looking for, and then literally I just kind of like plug in words from their like bio as far as like why I'm querying them specifically. If there's anything like I really like people that have manuscript wish lists because they're so much more detailed in their personality. And I can say things like, oh, I really love this too. I think that this will resonate with you because you like X, Y, and Z. Uh, but like it's still very, very formulaic, which I kind of hate.
Yeah.
Um, but that's
It's just
that's kind of how I approach it.
sometimes I struggle because like there's not anything on their website. Like it's just a really small block of like,
Yes.
I'm so and so, I'm
Yeah.
an agent,
Hmm.
here's clients I have, here's the genres I'm looking for. So I'm like,
I
I'm
think the
querying
question is
you.
why, well, like, yeah, why are you querying to them specifically?
Well, usually because so my book is, I would say, science fantasy. So it's a
Hmm.
blend of science fiction and fantasy. So I'm looking for people that represent both genres or
Yeah.
say that they want genre or they like the
Hmm.
cross
Yeah.
genre stuff. So that's usually why I'm querying them.
So then I would
And
just put that in because to me,
that's
that
what
middle
I've been
part,
doing. But I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah,
is that enough?
What
yeah.
website is there like a central website you use to find agents?
Yeah, I'm just using querytracker.net
Oh, CareerTracker.net.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
I would
because
say
they have like stuff, but
I use
yeah.
Query Tracker to submit to people. But mostly I go through and like obviously go to the agency's websites. I really like the manuscript wish list. I know that everybody says like just pay for a year of Publishers Marketplace and like do that, but I just don't know if I can commit to that. But like
Mhm.
I feel like every person that we've talked to at AWP is like, once you're ready to query, just pay for a year subscription. And I worry it's going to be a waste of money because I'm not going to get everything out of it, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've only used Query Tracker and Manuscript Wishlist. I struggled with Query Tracker. I love Manuscript Wishlist so much.
Yeah. I
It was my
really love
experience.
manuscript wish list, but everyone submits through Query Tracker. So I'm just using that
Yeah.
to like track everything. But as far as like finding agents, I love manuscript wish list because I like that off to the side it has like shit that you like and it's like TV shows and movies and books and like honestly, that's why when we interviewed Mike Wetnall, like the reason I queried to them is because we had so much in common. Like I didn't necessarily think they would like my novel, but I just was like, you
yeah.
seem like we're on the same wavelength as far as taste goes. So, you know.
I remember using that like in the very beginning when I was first starting to look for like manuscript wish list,
Mhm.
and I was really struggling to find agents that were doing like
Yeah.
space opera, and I was having trouble finding like my specific thing, and I had an easier time
Hmm.
doing that on Query Tracker.
Yeah.
Maybe it's genre specific because there were
Hmm.
so many people wanted horror on there, like horror
Well, because
thriller
horror is
especially.
like a
Yeah.
broader thing, but I'm looking
And
like for
it's
Hmm.
space opera. And if I looked up
totally.
science fiction, the problem with science
Yeah.
fiction is they're like, we want hard science fiction. We want science fiction that's based
Hmm.
on Earth. We don't
Right.
want any space operas. And so like
Hmm.
these were all the things I was running into a manuscript wish list, like
Yeah.
specifically saying no
Makes
space
sense.
operas.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
That's really frustrating. Well, and obviously, when you're first starting out, the advice always is to query people who represent books that you love. My problem is, you know, I love Ann Patchett and Jodi Picoult, who are best-selling authors, well established, have been with their agent for 30 years. Those agents aren't looking for a child essentially with her debut novel, you know? And so like that's the problem that I ran into doing that is I'm trying to read more debut novelists in my genre to try
Yeah.
and see who their agents are, but there's only so much reading I can do. Like I'm not a fast reader, you know?
Yeah, I've been doing that too, like reading in my genre and people that are just getting started, and I look up their agents, and every single one of these authors' agents are closed. Every single one.
I
Ah,
hate that. I have like
that's so
three
rough.
query letters personalized to people who are closed.
I have a
Oh,
list. I have a list of like 12 agents that are all closed.
And I feel like every time
mm,
I check, because they just say like, I'll be open in the spring. And I feel like once I check, they're like, oh, I just closed. I was open for, 3 weeks and now I'm closed again. It's like, fuck, how did I miss that?
oh my gosh. Well, they tend to get what like thousands of
Oh yeah.
submissions in just 3 weeks. That's wild. I mean that was but last time I was actively querying was like 2023, so it's been a while since I've
Hmm.
been sending out letters. Um,
Yeah.
I imagine it hasn't changed much though, volume wise.
I'm sure
Hmm.
not. I'm sure it's worse now with AI. People are submitting AI novels.
That is a
Oh
good
my
point.
gosh.
That's a
That
whole
is
can of worms.
Well, and it's so frustrating to me too, because like I've had people in my life, if I say like, oh, I'm struggling with my query letter, they're like, oh, you should put it in AI and like see what it gives you. And I'm like, no, I'm not like I'm not I'm not going to do that because if I want to be successful, I should be able to do it myself. Like I understand people use AI as a tool, whatever bullshit, but like no. And then two, if I was an agent, I would be putting everything through like an AI detector system, whatever, you
The
know?
problem is those things aren't working anymore because of the fact that people are reading
Yeah,
so much AI content that humans are
yeah,
starting to write like AI, and AI
that's
is
true.
learning from humans. So like those AI detectors
Yeah,
are detecting human written language as AI because there's no way to tell anymore.
yeah.
It's
It,
super
yeah,
dystopian in the marketing world right now. Like I'm on LinkedIn every day and I'm in marketing right now,
yeah.
but it all sounds the same now. I can see it from 10 miles away if a LinkedIn post was written by ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Yes. There's like
Hmm.
some that have like specific thumbprints and stuff on them, but like it's getting harder and
Hmm.
harder to detect AI writing and
Yeah.
stuff.
We're gonna have to do a whole episode on AI eventually, but like I know that neither of us have as anything nice to say about it. So it'll just be like an
I
hour of us shit talking it.
I really, really want to like AI. I really want it to be something that,
I
can be
really, really
helpful to us.
don't.
That's really interesting because I
I
think there's some great things that it can do. I think the problem that
Yeah.
I'm having is it's trying to take art, which is like fundamentally what humans should be doing.
Hmm.
So it should be doing other stuff like
I saw a
taxes.
take. I was gonna say I saw a take the other day that basically said like AI never should have been commercialized. It should have only ever stayed at like a corporate or like research level. And once it was
Mm.
introduced into daily life is like when it became a problem. And I kind of agree with that because like, literally, I was talking to my dad the other day, and the principal at my sister's school had written her a letter of recommendation. And my sister ran it through an AI detector and it was, 80% AI. And like her feelings were so hurt and upset that like he couldn't even take the time to write this letter of recommendation. And my dad
Mm.
tried to defend him and be like, well, he's really busy and blah, 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 and whatever else. And I'm like, no, he is a professional in his field. It would have taken him the same amount of time to put a prompt into an AI generator and then tweak it as it would have to write a letter of recommendation. He is an educator who has been in education for over 20 years. It does not take that long to write a letter of recommendation. Like I have such a hard time with it actively making people stupider. Sorry, that's my soapbox.
I'll join you on it.
Yeah. And like especially with it killing the environment and like I have children and I'm not interested in like them not having any water so that a robot can, you know, rap
Write
about
poetry.
how yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
or write the 20th season of Game of Thrones
Yeah,
overnight.
exactly.
Oh my God.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, I imagine as a literary agent, like they have to be on high alert now for AI detection and,
Well,
making sure that people are actually writing their own shit.
my big fear is like AI can read like your drives and stuff. So like what
Oh
if it
yeah.
scanned your work into its AI and then your work comes
Hmm.
back as AI because your AI has seen it?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know.
Oh my
And it's
gosh.
It's
like, no,
all
I don't
terrifying.
use it. I don't use it,
No.
I swear.
No.
Feels
I
very
will tell you,
apocalyptic.
I
It
would say
does.
2 years ago when I started querying, I did put my query letter through an AI generator and I
Just
asked it,
kidding. Just
I
kidding.
know, right? I asked it for a one-line synopsis because a lot of agents
Mm.
want that single sentence synopsis. And my godmother was like, well, why don't you just put your novel in it and they can analyze the whole thing? And I was like, absolutely fucking not. I will put my query letter through it and like it can work on that, but I'm not actively submitting my novel to any AI generator.
No, it's funny you say that. I accidentally put my query letter through ChatGPT once,
Yep.
and I just got an error that was like, "This goes against our terms of service." I was like, "Oh, I guess it's it doesn't want to talk about horror or religion." So I was like,
Oh my
"Okay,
God, how
God,
I'll
that's
just
probably
funny.
true. That's
move
so
on from
funny.
that."
Wow. Oh my God, I didn't even think about that. That's so interesting. Well, now there's a million different models of AI that I'm sure
Yeah, I'm
really
sure it would
don't give a
accept it
shit.
now.
I mean, the fact of the matter is like AI is helping young teenage boys to actively undress photos of girls. So really moral compass,
Also that.
Yeah,
that doesn't exist.
or AI versions of Daenerys telling teenage boys to kill themselves.
Yeah, that's terrifying, dude.
And like there's a whole Reddit thread of like people dating AIs and marrying
Yes.
them.
My God, yeah.
It's
Mhm.
it's it's this feels like a science fiction novel.
Yeah, we should definitely
It
just go
does.
all the way back and blame the movie Her and just start there and move forward.
It really romanticized it. I loved that
Yeah,
movie, but now I'm like, wait, was I wrong to love that movie?
right. It's like
They
rewatching
wanted you
500.
they wanted you to like that movie. They wanted you to
Yes.
empathize. They wanted you
Oh
to
my
Uh-huh.
gosh.
love the
Yeah.
Sam
AI.
Altman was
Yeah.
the director. We just didn't realize it.
Exactly. No, it's like going back and rewatching 500 Days of Summer, and like when you watch it as a kid, you're like, "Oh my gosh, he was so romantic." And then you watch it as an adult and you're like, "He's the worst." Yeah. You
I
guys
saw
don't
that
watch
movie.
rom-coms. That's
When
okay.
I like that movie actually, but I haven't seen it since I was 18, so now I'm worried I'll rewatch it and not like
Oh
Joseph
yeah.
Gordon-Levitt anymore.
Oh
So
no, no, he's awful. He is the worst.
really?
He tries to manic pixie dream girl her. Like he puts all of his hope and expectations on her. And like when you
Uh,
rewatch it now, you're like, "Oh,
yikes.
gross." Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. I
hope
know.
he and
Yeah,
Autumn are doing well.
I don't know anything about that movie. I
Uh,
just know whenever I've looked into Manic Pixie Dream Girl, it's always like the first example that comes up.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So thinking about like querying and query letters and just writing in general, have you guys been like reading or watching anything that is inspiring you towards your writing journeys?
I will say, sorry, unless you want to go first, Maddie.
I really don't want to go first.
That's fair. No, it's a tough question. But an answer came to my mind right away because I've been trying really intentionally to read as much horror as possible. And what I'm finding is that I am really struggling to get a pulse on where horror as a genre is right now. It still feels very strongly successful visually
Hmm.
um, in other forms of media, and then Stephen King novels.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are like best-selling horror novelists, but to me, that I'll read one that's just like really hardcore, like religious horror, and one that brands itself the same way, but it's very kind of. I don't want to say like light and upbeat, but it takes kind of like a
Mhm.
more Stranger Things pulpy approach to horror versus one that's actually trying to inspire dread, but technically they're the same thing. Um,
Mm.
so that's my answer, is I'm trying to better define my genre and currently struggling to, but
Yeah. No,
Have you
that's
asked
really
the AI?
no, I'll do that next.
yeah. Just type in what is horror and it'll just type back, ooh, scary.
Yes.
No, that's really interesting though, because when I think of horror, I do inherently think of like TV and film.
Yeah.
And then like you said, Stephen King. And like I know even when I was like shelving books, back at the bookstore, it was really mixed in with mystery and thriller.
Yeah.
And like to pull it out in its own section, it kind of ebbed and flowed with what was popular at the time. But that is really, really hard, especially because I think a lot of horror has social commentary in it that people don't want to look at right now.
Yeah, I to that point, I think the most popular version of horror right now is how it's folded into, as you said, thrillers at times,
Mhm.
which is not something I'm necessarily interested in writing right now,
Yeah,
which I guess is like the more murder mystery type plot,
right. Yeah.
like a serial
Hmm.
killer in a neighborhood or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
That definitely has, I would say, a consistent and well-defined genre, and it kind of absorbs horror a bit, maybe,
Right. Yeah.
for good reasons and
Hmm.
neutral and bad reasons, I'd argue. But yeah, yeah, I would say
Yeah.
that's kind of where it's at right now. So I'm trying to find the niche outside of like the more, I guess, popular thriller genre.
Yeah. Because even like, um, oh, what is his Jeff Vandermeer's series, Annihilation? Like to me, it's very like horror, like body snatchers kind of stuff, but it's in sci-fi. And so I,
Mhm.
I sympathize with you a lot. That's really hard to try to find your definition and your niche, especially when querying agents. That's got to be hard.
We have an interesting point as well. I feel like Annihilation is closer to what I'm writing, anyways, even though I
Mhm.
wouldn't brand it as science fiction horror. I'm always like at the, just like Maddie is, I think horror, science fiction, fantasy crossroads. And it's like,
Some,
where
yeah.
do
Hmm.
I like pinpoint
I've,
that and market it? And I think
Yeah.
horror is the right way to, and I'm really amping up those elements in the story in ways I might
Mhm.
otherwise not. Um, but yeah, I think
Yeah.
I'm closer to science fiction horror, even though I wouldn't brand it as that, because science fiction, to Maddie's point earlier, intimidates me a bit
Mhm.
because I'm not really talking about tech or
Right.
futuristic societies, which I think is kind of where sci-fi tends to be at.
Yeah.
mhm.
I think it's so funny that you guys are at this crossroads of all these different genres, whereas I am at the crossroads of all the made up words. So, like, they're looking for contemporary, upmarket women's fiction. And I'm like, I mean, it has a female main character. I don't know what upmarket means. Oh, the best is when they ask for book club fiction. I'm like, I think a book club could discuss this, but I don't know what the fuck that means. Like,
I,
what?
I just posted on my Instagram story. I think you saw it, Abigail, about like where I was
Hmm.
at with my novel. And a
Yeah.
friend responded to me to tell me that he's actively querying as well. And he told me that his book was Upmarket Book Club. And I was like, I'm gonna pretend I know what those words mean, but I
Yeah.
don't.
It's fucking nonsense. So like when I'm trying to query mine, I'm like, upmarket. Okay, well, I think it could be popular, or else I wouldn't have written it and I wouldn't be querying it. And like book club, yeah, 10 ladies could sit around and discuss this book, I guess. Like what do you want from me? It's just contemporary fiction. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's nonsense. Anyway, Maddie, what's inspiring you?
I did not take the time to think about that. I was just listening to Jake. But I did want to say like a couple things to keep in mind, like when you're looking at books and trying to find your niche, is just remember that if you start querying today, it's going to be still like 5 years before your book is on the shelf, and the meta can be completely different. So
Yeah.
like
You know,
at the
that
end of
is
the
But
day,
it's
just write the story you want to write.
Yeah, definitely write the story you want to write, but it does help trying to find those comp titles, because comp
Oh,
titles,
sure.
since they have to within the last 5 years, I started querying
Yes.
3 years ago. My comp titles are already almost too old. Like I almost
Yeah.
have to find new
wow.
comp titles.
Yeah. But also just and your comp titles don't have to be it's not a 1-for-1 ratio.
Right. Yeah.
Let's just make
Yeah.
sure you point out like what it is about that comp title that's similar. Like, oh, it has the
Hmm.
same political tension as this book,
Right.
and it
Yeah.
has like these character
Yes.
dynamics like this book. So it doesn't have to
I
be
get to
like,
use emotional poignancy of Anne Patchett's Tom
ooh,
Lake. Yeah. Yeah, that was a fun one.
yeah, I like
I've
that.
honestly been really struggling to navigate that balance of like,
Hmm.
to me, there's two ends of the spectrum. One is being very intense about the labels. Like I've done all my research. I'm querying exactly to upmarket book club, women's contemporary fiction, right? But the other end of the spectrum is like, you know what? I'm kind of multi-genre, genre agnostic, however you want to word it, and I'm writing when I want to
Genre
write. And
agnostic. I'm gonna
Love
use
that.
that. I'm gonna use that.
yeah, maybe that's not the right word to use in a query letter, but I mention it as like an extreme of the spectrum, right? Like
Sure,
writing
sure.
what you want to write and framing it as you need to for each individual
Yes.
agent, which I'm sure there's an integrity issue there at some point if you're just querying to every agent and pitching it completely different every time. But I feel like there's a sweet spot between there, right? Like being consistent enough and accurate enough with your labels while not feeling restricted
But I
by
think the
it.
hard thing is when the labels are starting to be nonsense, I don't think there is an
Yeah.
integrity issue. I think that
No.
you're being as honest as you can. And like, yes, it is still upmarket, but this person said that they want contemporary, so I'm going to label it as contemporary. Like you're not lying. I think that that's part of tailoring it in that personalization of it. As long as you're not changing the overall synopsis, what the book's about, I think
Mhm.
using those buzzwords correctly is completely in your favor.
I'd also say like go with what your gut is, like things that you know for a fact, like it's horror. This is a horror
Yeah.
novel. I know it's in the horror, and that's okay because when we were talking to Mike, that they were talking about how you don't need to know all that. That's their job to know like that specific tags and
Yes.
terminology. So even if you get it wrong, even if your comp titles aren't perfect, they
Yeah.
just want to see that you're trying to identify where your book is in that space. And so
Yeah.
don't stress out too much about whether your book fits into that specific genre. If you know like it's contemporary, that's you can just say that, and I think that that would be okay because
Hmm.
you're just learning. This is a brand new world for you, so I think
Hmm.
I think it's gonna be okay. But I struggle with
Yeah.
like science fiction since science fiction has such a specific connotation. I don't want to say
Yeah.
that, so I'm like trying to balance between whether I want to call it science fantasy or a space opera because it's kind of one of those things or both. I don't know.
Is there a world where you call it both, just depending on which agent you're querying to?
I tried space opera with the first agent and then science
Mm.
fantasy with another agent, so I don't really know. But when I was talking to Bethany Jacobs, who has a book that I feel is like closest to mine, she said that science
Yes.
fantasy was definitely something I could use for my book. So
Mm.
that's why I'm trying that. But
Yeah.
I'm not. I haven't attached myself to that word like I have space opera, but I feel like
Hmm.
science fantasy probably is closer because it is very like fantasy because it's like kings and princesses and stuff. So
I
feels like
just,
fantasy is probably the right call to draw it to.
yeah. I like what you're saying about like be patient with yourself because it's the agent's job to like find exactly what the niche is. But at the same time, it's so intimidating because I feel like when you send a query and like when you talk to agents about it, like you're supposed to know what you're talking about. And it's such a weird balance between people like expecting you to write this perfect query that is very professional, that knows exactly what it's talking about, but also like you're applying for an assistant basically. Like you are asking for somebody to help you navigate a space that you don't know anything about. So it's really hard because I feel like you're expected to be an expert, but also you're not expected to know too much because like they want to take you under their wing. And it's just a really
Yeah.
weird place to
I
be.
don't I don't think they expect you to be an expert. I think of it more like when I was a hiring manager and people would send me a cover letter. And
Hmm.
something that was impressive to me is if they did the homework and they know what our company does and they're like pointing out like I know you guys do cybersecurity training. I worked in cybersecurity, did all this training. And it's not like they don't have a perfect understanding of it, but at least
Right.
they're trying to figure out the connections between their work and what I'm trying to do. And so I don't expect
Hmm.
them to be like, I know
Yeah.
exactly what you're doing. So I think it's if you're like making a genuine effort and it seems like you are reading books in your space and you kind of like if you're saying like my book is horror and it's like a children's book that's like about puppies and hugging, I think
Yeah.
maybe that would
Yeah.
be a problem. But I
Right.
think if you know
Well,
generally where it fits, I think just
it,
showing that you're putting the effort in, I think is
it's just
meaningful.
hard because, like you and I have talked about before, when you were a hiring manager, like if somebody makes one mistake in the application, you have 50 applications. I'm not taking somebody that made one mistake because I can move on to the next person. And
Well, it
like
depends on the
that's,
mistake.
well, yeah, see, and that's what I'm always scared of is I'm so scared that like I'm not using the right language or, my first novel has dual POV. And so like my little synopsis, they always say pick one person and do the synopsis from that, but there's only two people. So like it is a little bit split. And I'm just so scared that that one mistake is why agents are moving on. But I guess when you get the right person, it doesn't really matter. You just need one person to say yes, I guess.
Well,
I
yeah,
don't
to
know.
me, thinking about it emotionally, like I relate to that a lot because I can get really stressed out thinking about all the factors that I want to control to ensure success.
Yes.
But you can control a lot, but at the end of the day, I really try really hard to sit with just like that fear of not being able to control everything and just accepting it. It's like I can't control if this really specific thing that I tried really hard for looks like a mistake to this agent. And
Hmm.
I just
Yeah.
have to relinquish that. But it's like so
Yeah.
I'm
hard
sh
to like let
Yeah.
go
I'm
of that.
sure
Hmm.
I'm
So
sure it's very
hard.
similar as like an editor
Hmm.
in my experience. I'm sure it's similar, not the same. But we get stories and we have different editors. I'll read a story and I'll be like, "Yes, 5 stars." And somebody else will read it and they're like, "I hated this 1 star."
Oh,
And
that's so hard.
And like, it's just funny because we both work for the same magazine, and sometimes they like stories I like, and sometimes
Hmm.
they hate stories I like. And so like you just don't know. Like it doesn't necessarily mean you wrote like your bad query letter or like your writing sample wasn't or
Yeah.
not like your first 5 pages or whatever wasn't good enough. Maybe it's just that agent didn't see the value of it. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's
Yeah.
bad or wrong.
I also, okay, taking a sidebar here for a second. Sorry, I've been texting Michael because he's been reading a ton more recently, and he just read some books that are in the horror genre.
Mm.
But everything that he's describing, because I said, what do you think about the horror genre right now? And he said that a lot of them are very described as like gothic. Or like
Mm.
one of them
Mhm.
is technically like a dark romance, but it was in like the horror section and stuff. And so it like I just can't get over like how broad your genre is and how difficult that is. So sorry, I didn't mean to be distracted on my phone, but just I was texting Michael about it because he's been reading some horror books lately.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean that's those are elements or subgenres within horror I hadn't even considered because I'm not
Yeah.
particularly interested in gothic
Dude.
horror or
Yeah.
So
It's
romance
I
yeah.
don't
horror.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know about you, but like when you go on like and you see like an agent's list of the genres that they do you ever see like they're like horror and then they list like 17 subgenres and sci-fi
Yes.
17 subgenres that they represent?
Yes.
And it's like, oh my gosh, do I
Yeah.
have to be that specific? Do I?
Right.
What? I don't
Yeah.
even know what that means. What does that
Oh my gosh.
subgenre even
Ugh.
mean?
I
Yeah.
kind of appreciate that when an agent does that, though. It is intimidating, don't get me
Yes.
wrong. I
Oh,
totally
yeah.
agree.
Yes,
But
I
then I'm
totally
like,
agree.
oh my gosh, mine is in there, as opposed to
It's
someone
it
who
feels
just
seen. I
writes
feel seen.
horror.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then it's almost worse when your genre isn't in there because it's like, okay, well, you listed 15 things. Did you just like forget about mine or do you not actually want it? Well, give it a try anyway. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
go
I was
ahead.
just gonna say on the genre piece, while we're on that, I feel like queer horror is kind of the subgenre that I feel like is the most marketable, the most written and published right
Yes.
now. Even
Yeah.
though, there are queer characters and there are queer themes, but I think religious horror would technically be more accurate, be more true
Mhm.
to the nature of the novel, because
Mhm.
queerness is read through religious lenses.
Yeah.
But I feel like talking about strategy, I think that the queer horror makes more
Mhm.
sense from marketability standpoint.
Yeah.
Um, just to that point.
Well, okay. I have two different things, but I'll build off of this thing first, and then I have another story. But how do you guys feel about including like timely relevant details from our real world experience happening? Like would you ever include in your query like as there is a consistent attack on like gay marriage, the fact that fucking conversion therapy is being re-legalized and like just the horror happening there, would you ever include that stuff in a query letter to be like this was not written as an address to that, but like it would sell very well in our current political climate? Or do you guys think that that's like stepping over a line some way?
I think there's a way to do it, I guess, strategically. And to me,
Mm,
it also to your, I mean, you said this, Abigail, but like depends on the nature of the manuscript as
right.
well. Because like the novel I'm writing right now, um, very specifically addresses issues queer communities will face and highly religious communities in the rural southeastern United States. So
Mm,
I think I'm gonna up the ante a bit and be a bit more explicit about
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
adding to the discourse, maybe. I
Yeah.
haven't thought about that yet until you just asked me, but that's a good point
I
because in
just
my
feel like
prior version, I was super brief about it. There was maybe
mhm,
2 sentences where I talked about the fact that I was queer, my story had queer characters, and it's tying in with like themes of family and grief.
mhm.
Mhm.
But I like that prompt a lot because I think it's a good question.
Well, and like it's just one of those things where I know, just like Maddie said, by the time something gets, picked up by an agent and then through a publisher, through an editor, it'll be 5 years, whatever. But I also feel like maybe that would help agents kind of want to like jump on it now and try and get it out there. Because like my second novel deals with like the trauma and like how people get pulled into cults. And I
Mm,
feel like that's very, very relevant today. And like it was partially inspired by a lot of, not a lot of, but many of my friends losing their parents to the cult of MAGA. And so like I just hesitate, like, do I include that or do I just talk about the plot and hope that the agent can connect those dots in some way to make it marketable? I don't know.
I feel like it's a good idea to talk about it. I mean, I think there's ways to talk about it, and you can change how you talk about it based on the agent. But my
Mm.
first thought is, let's say MAGA is disbanded tomorrow
Oh
and
God.
it's evaporated.
Please.
Like,
Please.
yeah,
Please.
that'll be the miracle that happens tomorrow. But
Yeah.
like, we will still be consuming fiction and research pieces and think
Yeah.
pieces about MAGA as long as humans are around and are
Hmm.
writing and
Yeah.
AI is not doing that for us, right? Because like
Yeah.
it's just always going to be relevant,
Yeah.
um, even if it's 2 years outdated because MAGA
Right.
ended on this podcast episode.
My God, if
Man,
only, if only.
please,
Yeah.
please, please have
Right.
that. Like,
Yeah. I feel like that's true though, because I still see so much like pandemic fiction coming out because,
yeah,
people wrote it in 2021, kind of thing as a response. And now we're just now getting those books published. So I feel like that's a really good point to make.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if your book is in conversation with that, I think that
Mhm.
might be something to bring up. I know like Bethany Jacobs was talking about like her book and how it's in conversation with something that was happening now, but
Mhm.
wasn't happening at the time when she wrote the book, but had
Right.
historically happened. So she does talk about that in her author's note about that. So
Mhm.
I think that would be the place to do it. But I also do think that hopefully your agent would be able to connect the dots and how that
Right.
relates to the current the affairs. And because
Right.
you really want an agent that doesn't see that, you know,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, absolutely. That's true. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the hard part is that you want an agent who understands you completely, which is always a tall order.
And at
yeah,
the end of the day, the query letter only exists for that moment,
Yeah.
for the agent,
yes.
Hmm.
not for the world in 5 years
Yes.
when the novel comes out.
Hmm. Although, how cool would that be to, like, I would kill for a book of query letters. Like, what was Stephen King's first query letter? Like, how did he get his agent? Like, what was Jodi Picoult's query letter? How did she get her agent? Like, that would be so cool to see.
I feel
Yeah.
like Stephen King like published Carrie as a short story in a magazine. Like it was a
Yeah.
totally different world at that point.
Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah,
Um,
that's very true.
yeah,
But even
but it's
today,
still
like,
different.
well, let's say even interviewing like Claire Lombardo, who is the
Mhm.
closest to my genre, she was like, "Yeah, I was in grad school and like they had agents come to campus, and that's how I found my agent." And I just want to be like, "Fuck! Why did my grad school have to suck? Like, come on."
Yeah,
I know. I paid so much money for that.
Right. I paid so much money for zero connections.
Well,
Yeah,
what?
that's true. I have you. It was worth
That's
it.
it.
I'd pay
That's
all that
it.
money all over again to be your friend.
Oh,
Oh my God. But yeah, I mean, it's hard. Oh, so the other story I was going to tell you guys is I was going through my queries today to follow up on because so many of the rejections are just 6 weeks have passed and you haven't heard anything. Like, so
yeah.
rarely do you get an actual rejection letter, which just sucks. Like, I would rather just get a fucking form rejection than nothing. But
Mhm.
anyway, so I'm following up on it and I go to the agency to like double check what was the timeline, blah, blah, blah. The agent's not there anymore. And
What?
in Query Tracker, they still have her listed under that agency, like my query is still there, whatever. But looking through the agency's website, that agent's not there. It was 2 months ago that I sent in my query letter. So I'm like, well,
Wow.
that sucks. How are you supposed to, to know that? So I've had a couple of those that just felt like wasted queries.
I had a few of those as well.
It
Oh boy.
sucks.
I can't wait.
Yeah,
But
I
then you like
mean,
stuff like this is like I like agonize over everything I send, but like
Yeah.
maybe it's not like if I'm
Hmm.
not even gonna get a response, you know.
Yeah.
well,
Don't take it
to
so
that
seriously. Well, I'm
point,
not saying it's more like I'm agonizing over like, oh, I can't send it. I'm too scared. Not agonizing over like the details of it. It's more like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm so scared to send it. And it's like, I might never hear from this person. And that would be fine.
Nope. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, the story I was gonna quickly tell is that the one agent who picked up my manuscript and asked for the full manuscript request, that was like before I'd even like had a super sophisticated process where I was like doing this, doing that. It was one of the early ones that I just kind of
Mhm.
like bloop, sent off. And it's like, oh wow. So it just kind of is a dice roll. And you can get your +4 modifiers because you did this, did that, but it could still be a critical failure.
That
Yeah.
is so painful. I hate that though. Like, if I roll a fucking 17, I deserve to defeat the monster. Like,
No, no. Yeah, you
it's
have to
so,
roll a 30. 30 is
I
the
know.
challenge level,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the AC for every publishing house.
Yeah,
Yeah,
30.
right.
So you
It's
gotta roll
so
nat 20 every time.
Well, and that's the thing is it's so hard coming from like an academic background where I'm like, oh, if I do a good job, I get an A.
Hmm.
That's been my whole life. And like that's just not the truth in writing.
Thank you for that reminder.
It's so discouraging.
I hate
Yeah.
that. I just want somebody
Yeah.
to tell me like, good job," and like
Mm.
put like a star on the board for me or something. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, but that's why even the form rejection letters I appreciate because a lot of them, and again, it's a form, whatever, but they took the time to say, like, please remember that agenting is a matter of taste. It's a matter of timing. Like, this is not a reflection on your work, whatever. And even though it's a
I bet you
rejection, like
say that to all the
reading that.
writers.
Well, I mean, that's the deal though, is that like I've had people say like I see like not necessarily I see the value, but like they have said like I am just not the right person to champion this.
Mhm.
And I always appreciate like taking the time to do that and to say that because even having interviewed agents, like I know that logically, but it's still really hard.
Yeah. Yeah, it is really hard.
Yeah.
It's all very difficult and I hate it here.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But there's also
I
kind of like a relief, like I'm doing this now. I don't have to,
mhm.
you know,
Yeah. I
I
want
can
to
tell
ask
people I'm
you.
querying my novel. Sorry.
Yeah, you are. Well, I want to ask you about querying your novel process. So, when we have talked in the past about submitting to magazines, we talked about like I was really afraid to send out to like big name magazines because I felt like I was setting myself up for failure. Whereas you were like, I only want to send it to like these like publishers of value because like that will mean more. So I find myself doing the same thing with agents is that I look at these agents and it's like, oh, well, this person's been an agent for, 20 years. This person's only been an agent for 5 years. I'll go with the less experienced person because I feel like they're more likely to take my work instead of
Mm.
going with the person who like might be a better fit because I am intimidated by that. What criteria are you using to evaluate the agents that you send stuff to? Like, are you looking for more experienced? Are you looking for people who are just starting to build their list? Or are you just looking for what they're interested in?
My criteria has not been, I don't have like a set criteria. I'm just kind of going by vibes. That's kind of been my biggest criteria. Just kind of reading through their websites and getting a look at them. Like if they look nice and they're not gonna tell me they hate me and that I should never write again. Um, I actually picked two agencies. One was it's called Fox Literacy, and then there's another agency that was called Greyhound. And so, I'm like,
Aw,
I have to find an
Aw.
agent from one of these places. I have to query them.
Mm-hmm.
And
the
just like
Greyhound
adding a
looked you
bunch
Yes,
of,
up.
absolutely.
this is just like my process of adding them to my list and just kind of having like specific rules and like just sorting by agents that represent the genres that I either write in now or want to write in is it leaves a lot few. It doesn't leave a lot of options. But
Yeah.
as far as picking them, I'll have to tell you the worst part about my criteria of like picking who to query next is for some reason I use the query tracker. They can tell you like how long it takes for them to respond.
Yeah.
And so I've been picking the agents that take the longest time to respond.
See, and that even that is so frustrating because Query Tracker is doing it based on like user data.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
I don't like if I get a rejection letter, sometimes I remember to update my query tracker and sometimes I don't.
Right.
Or like if somebody passed because it just passed 6 weeks, sometimes I'll remember to put it in, sometimes I won't. So I don't always trust all the information on query tracker.
Well, I mean, that's true. I mean, the same is true for any data tracker, but
Yeah.
I look at the average
Yeah.
and kind of get like a ballpark of when they might
Hmm.
respond. Like as long as it's not like they're consistently responding in 2 days,
Yeah.
that's too much. I
Yeah.
need a
A
little
little cushion.
cushioning.
Yeah. My favorite is 3 weeks. 3 weeks I feel like is a decent amount of time. Most places I find are 8 to 12 weeks.
8 to 12 weeks. I remember that. That
Yep.
was a PTSD flashback.
Yes, because that is so varied, 8 to 12 weeks. Like that is a huge difference.
I know it's a weirdly specific time frame that they all.
Yeah.
It's probably
Yeah,
just industry standard to say that is my guess.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's
probably.
it's weird. And then I have to sit there on my phone and count the weeks and then I type into my phone rejected by this person so that I remember to put it in my query tracker.
Yeah, I usually would set whatever date 12 weeks was to like reach out one more time, unless they say
Mhm.
specifically, which a lot of agents do, as I'm sure you both know.
Yeah.
Don't bother reaching out if it's been 12 weeks. And like, okay, well, I
Yeah.
will listen to that.
Yeah. But also, it's been 12 weeks. You can't fucking copy and paste a form rejection letter and just let me know. It drives me crazy. Drives me crazy. Doesn't take that
Yeah.
long. Have
Mhm.
fucking AI do it for you. God.
Don't that's terrifying. To have like ChatGPT reading query letters. I'm sure that's
Yes.
coming in
Ugh,
5 years.
I'm sure it
Or less.
is. Awful.
Awful.
Yeah. Yeah. So Maddie, you just started your querying journey this year. How many queries have you sent out? Do you have any goals? I mean, I feel like I should see a spreadsheet coming, but you've been very relaxed about this whole process, which I'm super proud of you for. So I don't know what to expect.
Oh, that is the biggest lie. That is not at all. I'm not relaxed about this process at all.
Okay, tell me.
I have not. I keep putting things off. I keep going like,
Mhm,
oh, I'll query them on the Saturday, and then I don't do that, and then I procrastinate by like finding other agents that I could potentially query, and then being like,
mhm,
these are the agents I feel most comfortable querying, but I'll do it on Saturday, and then I
mm.
get to them and they're closed. But I'll like do the form and
Yep.
save it, and then they're closed. So I'm like kind of like working myself up to it, and like I
Okay.
have not queried that many agents at all.
How many do you think you've sent out?
I've literally sent out four, four.
That's, but that's really good. I mean, that's essentially one a month. If you get one out in April, that will be one every month, and that's really good.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree.
I have sent out 6 so far this year, but I do it in batches. So like I queried 3 agents just today. And then next
Yeah.
month I'll send out like another batch. So I do it in small batches because I can't, like, if I'm sitting down, I have to just do it. Um, because I will again get distracted or lose confidence or whatever. And like I just have to bite the bullet.
hmm Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is really hard. And you're just sending like an email out into the void. You may never hear back from it. And that's still very terrifying though.
Yes. It's
And also it's
just
like I
the
worked
worst.
so hard on this. I worked so hard on
Yeah.
this. And you don't even get to send all of it. It's just like here's 5 pages for you to judge all of
Hmm.
my work
Yep.
on
I
this
had
project.
a couple of agents recently that only wanted the query letter. And
Mm.
I'm like,
Ooh,
you're
that's
not
honestly
even,
scarier.
it's so much worse. It's so much worse than doing like even just the first 5 pages.
Yeah, like at
Yeah.
least read the opening line that I agonized over for
Right.
2 years and
E-
chose every word so perfectly.
Exactly. Exactly. I don't know if I've talked about this on here before or not, but like when I go book shopping, I do the 99 page rule. So like I'll read the book jacket, and then if it sounds interesting, I'll flip to page 99 and read that page because you should be far enough in the book that like you're in the groove of the writing, but you're not so
Mm.
far that you're going to be getting a bunch of spoilers. And then by the time I'm reading the book, I will have forgotten like what I read. But I kind of wish the agents did that of like, give me your best chapter. I mean, I understand why they need the first page, but like, give me your best chapter. Let me know what I'm getting into, and then we can tweak the rest from there. Because if I know you're capable of this level of writing, we can
Mhm.
work together on the first page. But obviously, that's not how that works. But I wish it was.
Hmm. That's interesting.
I
Yeah.
know. That made me want to open Scrivener and scroll to page 99. What is my
Yeah.
99th page?
I could say I've done it for my book before, and I'm like, I would pick up this book and read it, but you would
Yeah,
hope that for any page of your own book.
yeah.
But like it makes me think in grad school, and Maddie, I don't know if you got to do this since yours was during COVID, but like we got to read an excerpt from our novels or our thesis at the time in front of everybody, and you got like 10 minutes to read. And I agonized over like where I wanted to do it. And I knew I didn't want to read from the beginning because I wasn't getting into the groove of the storytelling. And so I always wish that agents would just be like, send me what you think the best chapter is, because that will show me so much more about you as a writer. Like, what do you think the best is? Like, what is your level of writing that you're capable of? Just let me in there. I can fix the whole industry.
I mean, it is a lot of pressure for the best, most marketable version of your work to be the first 5 pages. Because, I
Yes.
mean, I, I guess I try to write that way. It was like,
Hmm.
okay, I could have like a slow burn, nothing burger opening, but that is
Right.
not at all marketable. So,
Yeah. And I also feel like I worry that it pushes us to be gimmicky. Like, do you guys remember in school when you were learning how to write essays and they'd be like, you have to start with the hook? And now, even teaching like college freshmen, I still get a bunch of people who are like, Webster's dictionary defines love as, and that's
No,
their little
no,
hook or
no.
whatever, right?
Immediately no. Immediately
No,
no. No, no
obviously,
I've
definitions.
I've seen that so many times
Yeah.
as when I taught. So yeah.
yeah, exactly. And so like that's the thing is that I worry like I'm not doing that with my novel because that's not good writing to me, but also I feel like it's almost pushing us to be gimmicky. Like the first line of my novel is because I start with setting and like I feel like I have to use all of my SAT words and make it this like ethereal landscape and all these long sentences because I'm trying to get a hook and I hate it. I hate the pressure
Mm,
of the first 5 pages.
Mm.
Do you guys
there's a
ever
lot of
decide to
pressure.
DNF a book based on the first 5 pages?
I mean, no.
Right. Like it's bullshit that they're only giving us 5 pages.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, although I might do that if like I was at a bookstore and someone was like, "Here's 500 books. Look at them in an
That's true.
hour and decide which of the one you're going to read."
I mean,
That
That's true, I
that's
guess.
true. Yeah. But
That's a
like
really good
I
point.
I have not read a book after reading like the first page. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
no, not for me.
to me the first
Yeah.
page has to be exceptionally bad, like horrific.
Yeah.
Well,
I give books a lot more chances.
Me too.
okay, so
Typically.
like
Yeah.
my pet I hate this is gonna make me sound like such a prude, but I hate when I open up the book and we're immediately in a sex scene. I'm
Yeah.
like,
How often does that happen to you? That's never happened.
it's happened like 2 or 3 times to me. Like that's
Yeah.
how the time traveler's wife
Oh,
starts
it
with a sex scene.
is. Oh, fuck, I forgot about that. I do
Oh,
love that book though. See,
I
and I
could
just completely
I was
moved
like
past it.
I won't lie.
I can't
I
do that.
That happened
Mhm.
to me for the first time ever a few months ago. Someone really wanted me to read this book. I opened it sexy, and I was like, no, actually.
Yeah, it's a
So,
lot. Yeah.
But
I
I can't. I'm not. I'm
yeah.
like it is 7 a.m.
I need some
Like I'm
foreplay
not
first,
ready for
guys. Come
this.
on. Go slow.
but
Yeah.
also mine was so cliche. It was like
hmm
a man with a cigarette, and the woman's on the bed, and I'm like in
No.
the hotel room. Like, come on.
No. No. Yeah.
I think like
Can't.
that. I
Mm.
think you guys should go back and read like the first couple pages of the time travel because I remember like it's like scarred in my brain.
Yeah. Yeah. I audiobooked that and I loved the movie so much that my guess is I just kind of moved past it because I listen to audiobooks on 1.5. But that book has a lot of issues anyway, as far as like grooming children go. So it's
Yeah,
complicated in itself.
that kind of skeeved me out too. And it starts with
Yeah.
the sex scene, like
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. Um, yeah. I'm really glad that I'm on this journey with you guys because it's so discouraging and like taking those 5 months off. I kind of had in the back of my mind of like, if I just give up, I know you guys will still love me, but I also know that you'll be really proud of me when I come back to it. And like having you guys there in the back of my mind, knowing that like I can make you proud by just putting
oh,
myself out there, like
Oh
helped
gosh.
me to send out queries again, just so that I could text you and be like, I sent out a query today.
I
Oh.
was like,
Yeah.
similar, but instead I'm like, I can't do this because I have to talk to Abigail and Jake, and they're gonna be so mad at me. They're gonna be so disappointed. I gotta get in there. I
Oh
gotta
my
get in there
gosh.
and do something.
Well, when you invited me to this episode, I was like, but I haven't queried yet. So we're all on the same page.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really glad that we're all in this boat together.
How's the novel coming along? Like, where are you at?
It's great. I'm at about 50,000 words, which is super exciting, aiming for 80. So I'm nearing the end of draft
That's
one.
exciting. That's very exciting.
Nice.
Yes. And I did like as Maddie knows, like a little alpha reading, I guess I'll call it, of like the first 3 chapters to get like initial impressions before I continued through. So I'm
Mhm.
already working with some feedback, but I'm excited to finish it, put it on the shelf for like 2 weeks, reread it, beta test, and then go from there. So yeah,
Yeah.
it'll
There,
probably be a while. I'm hoping to be querying by the end of the year. That's my goal.
there's
That'd be
nothing
awesome.
sweeter than those 2 weeks between finishing a project and having to go back to it.
I
Like,
know. I'm trying so hard not to reread everything as I keep writing, as is just my instinct. It's like, you know what? Just trust it to sit there for a little bit.
mhm.
Because you'll just agonize about the same thing endlessly otherwise.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
It's funny, like every time I've gone and reread my novel, I'm like, oh, I like this book. Actually,
It's a
I
good
actually like this
sign.
book.
Oh my God.
But
Um,
then now I'm like, as I'm like thinking about querying, I'm thinking like, oh, I should have done that better. Oh, there's not
mhm.
enough action in it. Maybe I should have added more fight scenes or, all these things that like
Yeah.
it's too late. I just let it go.
Yeah, that's basically where I am with my first book is I unless an agent decides to pick it up and we work with an editor, I don't think I'm ever going to go back and touch that novel again. If it gets published, that's incredible. If it doesn't, it was a great exercise and I learned a lot about myself and my writing, but I don't think I'm ever going to go back and try to edit or rewrite it.
Yeah.
I mean, the most liberating thing in the world, honestly, for my writing career was letting go of that first manuscript. It's like I've been rewriting this thing for so many years.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take the best parts of it, the things that excite me the most, and turn it into something different.
Mhm.
Um, and that's just been so fun. It's been crazy how I've been writing these past few months. Like I will not be able to stop. I was like, oh my God, I've written like 2,000 words. It's almost midnight. I have to get up for work tomorrow. I miss this feeling. My sleep is suffering because of it. But like, wow, to feel that way again. Just
Oh,
like keep going, like
Yeah.
crazy.
God, I miss that feeling. That's amazing. I'm so happy for you. That's
I
awesome.
don't say it comes and goes, right? Based on
Of
what's happening in life.
course.
I'm sure if I was raising a child and a second was on the
Well,
way, I would not.
yeah, but I don't even mean like that. Even
Yeah.
without those like added difficulties or like excuses in the way, like I miss that feeling of being so inspired that you're like, no, I'm willing to sacrifice everything because these ideas are here at my fingertips and I have to get them out. I love that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Hoping to capture that magic for 2 months longer to finish the first draft.
You got this. You can do it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I'm
I appreciate
hoping
that.
next month to start a new project.
Yeah,
That's
a new
exciting.
project like a brand new project outside of the world you've built or a new project like the second book.
I was thinking I'd go like workshop my some short stories that I hadn't done, but I think I'm going to start something new. But I think I might do short stories for now. I don't know if I
Okay.
want to like I don't know if I want to go into a novel, but we'll see what happens
Mhm.
next month. Just going to give myself a little bit more time to get used to the querying and
Yeah, that's
I
yeah.
exciting.
I that's so exciting. I absolutely love that for you. And I feel like starting with short stories, like that's how I found my first novel is writing a short story that then turned into a novel.
Hmm.
And like the back of my mind, I have another short story that I'm like, I think it's supposed to be a novel.
I have two novels in the back of my head that I really want to write,
Yeah.
and I've written like summaries of it and like gotten some details out about it just so I have it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I don't know if I should just dive right into another novel.
Why not?
Whatever gives you the most energy to write, because that's just the
Yeah.
thing at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
true. I'll
especially when there's
see where I'm drawn to.
Yeah, especially when there's no pressure connected to it of just, I'm diving into something new. Let's see what my interest is leading me towards.
I'm Abigail.
And I'm Maddie, and this has been
Two writers.
Many Wrongs.